You are now tuned in to 710 Radio. We are the newest and hottest independent radio station in Colorado and on the internet. The fans named the station. With over 1 million visitors and over 10 million hits. Oh yeah, our website is going bananas. We are the newest and the hottest. This is 710 Radio. 24/7 radio. Stay tuned and tell a friend. The Dabber's Choice. With hot shows 7 days a week.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team.
Shit. Piss.
Fuck.
Cunt.
Cocksucker.
Motherfucker.
And don't forget about tits.
We remember these words as,
The 7 dirty words.
but we call them.
Conversation.
And if you're offended by these words, you fucking should be.
What's up, everybody? This is 710 Radio, and I'm Rick Wainwright.
And I'm Patrick Partridge.
And this is Let's Talk About It. So we've really been working on several projects, and finally coming to a head. And so, actually, guys, you are going to be able to New York, Chicago, Oregon. What we have done is we have combined the home shopping network along with the blueprint of directbuy.com. We kind of melted their two blueprints together and we came up with the 420 Lead Shopping Network. we are going to be same format. So, we will be having shipping and receiving. We're going to have a TV studio. We're going to be going out to businesses, filming live at the businesses. Yeah, man, it's cool, actually. Well, you know what? Right now, this will be your one-stop shop for all your 420 and 710 needs. And, we got a lot of products that are going to be coming on there. And, you'll be able to get them at substantial savings. As if you were to go into a head shop and try to buy we're going to have awesome deals. And we will be launching our app here pretty damn quick because that is a intricate piece of the puzzle. And you'll only be able to get... Now, you'll be able to go to the website and get the deals that we got going on all day long, okay? But there's going to be certain deals that you're only going to be able to get it if you have the app. Yeah, and then, oh man, I still can't fucking talk about the one thing I really want to talk about because, everything we're doing, man, I'm telling you, we're setting the bar high, brother. And people are really gonna look at us and say, where the fuck did these guys come from? Every time they do something, they're setting the bar higher. Okay, so tonight, man, we are going to be discussing A64 and what is it good for. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm well on record. I still haven't changed my vote. I was a no on 64 when we voted for it. I don't know what you did. For obviously different reasons, but we were both no on 64. Okay. So, now my reasoning for voting no on the A64 was basically because of two sentences that was put in the middle of the wording, the middle of the ballot, and in between two big paragraphs, where you see, and it basically was talking about the medical marijuana program. Right, because it was going all good up until pretty much that point. I was like, okay, that could be doable, that would work, okay, that would be nice. And then they started talking about the medical marijuana, and I read these two sentences, and it was basically, they were talking, and the wording back then, it said that if the state finds out that medical marijuana, but they called it a said program. Okay, but
yeah, the alternative program. I remember going along that line.
Yes, and then they said that if they find out that said program is no longer a viable program, then they will shut down said program. Okay, now the only problem with that was of course it was going to become a non-viable program when it
talking about was 820 or so for the medical marijuana program. It wasn't supposed to be lucky, but if you know how to read legislation, pretty much what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, that is, now I have other concerns, okay, don't get me wrong, but as a medical marijuana patient, that concerns me quite a bit. And
Well, I said since the beginning of the first letter, the intent of the component basis was to keep the claim out on those who qualify for 20 because they limited the allowed competition of the developed whole entity that had family, illnesses or otherwise, that was shot of that. So, the way I They didn't want to team up with the workers. They didn't want to team up with liquor regulation here. They wanted to hijack the marijuana. That was the
see if I can, I was looking up who the authors of A64 were. Vicente, Edson in on it? I know Edson was on A20. Robert?
Okay. Well, we had to give them something. No, you already given them money because that's the bill you sold them to begin with. Money for fucking school. You didn't have to throw the patients under the bus and give up all those rights that the medical marijuana patients had already established. That's what you did. Okay? So I don't want to hear none of those excuses this later because you didn't want to partner up with those patients. You didn't want to try to protect our rights. You want us all to come and support this talk now. So wait a minute. We didn't want to fix what it was. Everybody understands. We know A64 is bad. We know 1284 was bad. Everybody understands this whole year. When did they fix 1284? When did they fix day 20? They never did. They never fucking did. Now we're left with a bigger, another headache with A64. Okay? They talk about what we can gain, and all they're interested in gaining is money. We experienced that when they took money out of the medical marijuana fund and put it in the general fund. All they're interested in money. They don't give a fuck about us. They don't give a fuck about us as patients. They don't give a fuck about us as persons or human beings. Right. They give a fuck about us as dollar figures. What you can tell me, we were just high because we had to have fucking agenda. We damn sure hold a fucking beer fest next month. Right? St. Patrick's Day, buddy. Everybody in the Brotherhood is supposed to stop there, broken. They ain't gonna be on the rock. But you can't have a cannabis event there.
No,
No,
God forbid.
I would. The sheriff said, I hear to the safety of the people, because you'll have a fucking football in the down there.
Right, yeah, that's just so
And
much.
encourage drunk classes and unsafe behavior by groups, huge groups in the culture. People that didn't pay a ticket price to be into the fucking event, they did show up. That's alright. Then you had to fight for your event that was allowed to happen. Alright? The one thing I will tell you is that the blatantly discriminated against the fucking cannabis users, well, the patients that just use it. And at times, we get tired of these fucking dogs with no teeth. We got a state constitutional amendment that allows every city, county, and fucking burg to opt out of it. There ain't no other fucking state in the land that will pass a constitutional amendment that allows a city or county to opt out of it.
And then sit there with their hands.
That's why it's up to begin with. Sorry about that, Rick.
No, and then sit there with their hands out and collect the taxes. That's what they're saying.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But yet we're gonna go against the federal fucking banking system to allow fucking banking for them? Hell no. Hell no. He still fucking says, he makes jokes about it. Yeah, all the while, pushing the fucking beer state. Somebody, they get to buy a whole goddamn town and they live whatever Colorado. All kinds of drunken debauchery went on during that week. Did anybody hear of, hey, we gotta stop that? No. Guys are voted on by the people who are letting fucking corrosion with pens away from it. The only way we battle is in the courtroom. We've got to file lawsuits. These are which they're acting upon. They're allowed to. Either it's a constitution or it's not. There's a constitution. They're making limits on how many can grow, the interference with caregivers, and all kinds of shit. And we still let it happen. We said on Facebook. What are we going to do? We're going to file courtroom cases and flood their goddamn courtrooms up with the shit? That's what we need to do. Every fucking state, not every state, but every fucking county or city in this state that has fucking said, no, we're not going to recognize A64. No matter what the people said, we're going to go over and above and against that. We need to sue these fucks. Because in the end, all they are is at best 10 motherfuckers sitting on a council or 8 motherfuckers sitting on a commission. They're not the voice of the people, folks. Fuck.
I hear you.
Sorry,
Well, I mean, come on, man. We just stand by. We work so hard. We did so much work, got so many signatures, done all the groundwork, just to let these fucking idiots take it away from us and stand up and go, well, there's really nothing we can do. Your ass there ain't. Let's file courtroom cases. Our church is already looking into this Adams law, where they ain't letting these medical kids fucking use their medicine on school grounds. They passed the law but didn't put no goddamn teeth in it. Now it's time for us to force them to put teeth in it. You got a conflict of interest. You got a state school. You got state laws that accept federal money. But because they accept federal money, they can deny kids their medicine. Because under state law it's legal, but not under federal law. You got a direct conflict of interest there.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. And, well, there is a bill. Let me see. A couple of them, actually. HR 1013. It is Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol Act. But, man, that bitch just went in, like, on February 20th of 2015.
That ain't the one that was voted on as a constitutional amendment in A64.
No.
So basically what you're telling me is it was never written to be treated like fucking alcohol. So they began right there with the lie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Don't you remember seeing billboards? Don't you remember seeing all them petitions, signature getters saying, yeah, we're going to pass this and you're going to treat it like alcohol. We're going to treat it just like booze. We're going to treat it like alcohol. Anybody over 21 can walk down the road just like they do with a beer. They can have up to an ounce. All that lies. All those lies that started from the very beginning. It was never, ever written to be treated like alcohol. Never.
No, but you did hear about that all throughout, getting A64 passed.
Excuse me?
Oh, we heard that quite often, trying to get A64 passed.
Oh, yeah. They're going to treat it like alcohol. That was their job. Well, that was alcohol. Under the law, alcohol, tobacco. Wouldn't they have joined with the alcohol enforcement, not the medical marijuana enforcement? They intended to hijack our medical marijuana from the fucking very beginning. From the very beginning. And if you don't see that, you glass. Or get you there. Or get you there. That was their intent from the very beginning. Was to hijack the medical marijuana. And virtually, as you say, what you read, and I remember reading the same legislation of those two sentences. They were going to remove the one program if the other one was more financially viable. Well, of course he was going to make more money. You're going to put such an exuberant fucking tax on it, you had no choice but to make more money. But there again, we got to go back to the questions of where's that money really going? Where is that money really going? Is our school getting any better? Now, I will congratulate you. Fucking college scholarship on it. I like that idea. They're actually using the money for the cause that it was intended. Unfortunately, our politicians don't have no ability to do that, to take our money and do what it was intended to do. They just take it because they know better than us on how to spend our money. I don't know, man. Unless we file lawsuits, everything that everyone has worked hard, every activist that's ever worked toward legalization, any form, medical, recreational, or otherwise, if we don't force these folks into doing the right thing with what we intended them to do when we got into this fight so many years ago, we're going to lose everything. Right now, man, what I see, what my own visual, my own opinion of A64, it was one step forward, 5 steps back.
Well, look at all the battles we've been having to fight since then.
Well, exactly. You created more problems. See, my definition, I don't know about you, but I grew up in the era we didn't have Wikipedia, we had Webster.
Right.
And that dictionary told me the definition of legalization means you basically remove laws that stated its illegality off the book. You don't add 1,000 fucking laws to make something legal. And that's basically what they did when they devised A64 and left fucking holes in it for the legislative body to write it the way they wanted to write it. I question Brian Vincent directly on this when they come down to Colorado Springs of why didn't you give us red card holders the patient exemption of which we were entitled to from A20? His answer was, we didn't even consider giving medical patients any exemption. What? Huh? Excuse me. Say that one more time. You didn't even consider giving them any exemption.
Zero.
Okay. So you wanted to bundle us all back up together. So your intent was never to create two things. Because if we just established two things, we could have done more direct research on the medical side while keeping the endeavors, if you will, the shot takers, the beer drinkers, kind of connoisseur, not the cannabis connoisseurs, because, I don't believe that by bundling them up together, you've done either one a benefit. Does
No.
that make sense?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Because I was reading in here that... damn it. About... You are not supposed to be selling recreational marijuana under the same roof as medical marijuana. But yet... What do you see?
Dude, wasn't it when it first come out that there was certain depth or levels of THC that that was supposed to be only so high was to be sold in rec. They weren't allowed to get the dosage or the high THC strains that was available in the medical side. But yet, when it went legal, all of the dispensaries in Denver that was going to go rec was allowed a one-time write-off, a theft of patients' plants of their property directly to facilitate the recreational user. Well, wait a minute. Wasn't that the medical-grade THC in those plants? Hold on a minute. So you fuck the patient, you go above and around the law that establishes the limit of THC. Wait a minute. So all it was about is fucking money.
Oh yeah. Yes. God dang it. I'm sitting here reading the wording to A64. It does say here medical marijuana provisions are unaffected. Nothing in this section shall be construed. A, to limit any privileges or rights of a medical marijuana patient, primary caregiver, or licensed entity as provided in Section 14 of this article and the Colorado Medical Marijuana Code. To permit a medical marijuana center to distribute marijuana to a person who is not a medical marijuana patient. To permit a medical marijuana center to purchase marijuana or marijuana products in a manner or from a source not authorized under the Colorado Medical Marijuana Code. To permit any medical marijuana...
So that was just basically saying, we're not going to allow you to buy rec wholesale and sell it on the fucking pharmaceutical side. That was all that was doing, was covering their own asses there. There's really nothing in there about medical patient exemption. All they are is worried about their business side.
Oh yeah.
They say it not construed or anything like that, but they don't mention anything concerning patients or patients' rights in there. Nothing. Nothing of what you just read to me mentions anything of patients or patients' rights. It was always the business side of it.
Yeah, and there's only 2 other paragraphs, and they're the same thing. They don't...
It's always covering the dispensaries or the business side that. Fuck the patient. Again, fuck the patient.
Yeah, well, you know, Colorado has proved time and time again that they have absolutely zero qualms about fucking the medical marijuana patient. And... yeah, zero qualms, and that just bothers me to no end. Because, for one, you know, I don't give a fuck what anybody says, and you know, I'll sit there and argue with them about it. But you know, if it were not for medical marijuana, recreational wouldn't even be on the table.
Well, brother, it's all medical use. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Those people that go home and have to drink a glass of wine because they're so stressed out from their day on the job. Believe me, if they didn't have the wine, they'd be taking a fucking Xanax or a Valium. It's all medical use. People just, they look at it as self-medicating.
Right.
It's all medical use, bro. There's a medical reason for them to do it. They may not recognize the medical reason or may not see that there is a medical reason, but it is all used under medical reasons, bro. All of it, all the time. That cannabis is never once used just to get high. Man, I've had a shitty day and a stressful day. Man, I could use a joint. Or, man, I got a headache. Fuck, I need to smoke a joint. You know what I mean? It's not just, fuck, I need to get high. No, it's the release they feel while they're high that is the self-medicating. So it's all medical. Excuse me, when LaPierre, or whatever the fuck his name is, the head of Normal, made that crack of medical marijuana is a farce. Let me tell you something, man. I run so far away from fucking Normal that I will never never go to a normal event, function, or anything coordinated or anything affiliated with normal. And the reason I say that is you and I both know a little lady named Michelle LeMay.
Right.
And during the same time of A64 was going around, she was getting signatures to pass her law, which I believe that had her law got on the ballot, we wouldn't have near the goddamn headaches and problems we do now that we have with A64. But that's another story. Fact is, she needed help, normal kind of help, financial help, to get it out there, to get the ballots out there, to pay signature getters.
Right.
Because little does people know, those people get paid by the signature. They get paid so much money. They got to eat, okay? So what Normal told her is we don't get involved in local stuff, okay? Well, no sooner did A64 get on the ballot when Normal come running saying, look at what we did, patting herself on the goddamn back. And they didn't do a fucking thing. I sat right here in Colorado and watched that Normal didn't do anything. The people of Colorado did that. But I'm not a fan of Normal. They've been around since the 70s. They're supposed to be a federal lobbying group. To what I've seen from their directors, chair people, they make more money off writing and selling books and doing book tours than they do lobbying Washington legislators.
Well, I know.
Disney.
Go for it. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Colorado
Go ahead.
has some new members now on their board, and we know quite a few of them. You and I, Miss Ashley Weber, Miss Larissa Boulevard, Chris Chiari.
Congratulations.
Who?
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. Congratulate Chris Chiari, and let me see. Maybe. Right now, those are the only three I know. I know there's one more, dag nabbit.
There's one other guy named Jay, too, but I don't want to even talk about him. Don't laugh. Don't get me started. I'm not even going to acknowledge it. But, yeah, he got elected as well.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
If that's what those people, if that's the glory that they got into it for, is to be recognized by a group an organization like Normal, then more power to them. I hope that was part of their bucket list, and I hope that was one of their achievements that they had that they reached. I'm happy for those folks that are a part of that, and I only hope that it don't go to their head like it's done to the national director.
Right. No, I mean, I really respect
I
Larissa
have no
Boulevard and
interest ever
Ashley
being
Weber.
on them boards. I have no interest of ever being on any board with theirs. So if that's their what they drive for, more power to them.
Right.
And Ashley, I love Ashley. I'm not going to hide that from nobody. I absolutely love her. She's a beautiful spirit. I can guarantee you, she can walk into a room with a bunch of frowns, and before she gets halfway across the room, everybody in that room is going to be smiling. She's just got that kind of spirit, and I just absolutely love Miss Ashley Weber. If there's ever anything that woman calls and asks me to do for her, I'm going to be doing it for her. So, but that's just because she's that kind of beautiful spirit. She's just a one-of-a-kind lady, and and Larissa, I mean, you cannot say enough about the work that she's done within the industry.
Right.
Now, I'm a community guy. She's an industry girl. So, we have our differences there. But you cannot deny the work that she's done. And for anybody to disparage that, it shows your ignorance. And I want to make that clear because a lot of people have been talking a lot of shit about how did Larissa make that and be able to do that. The fact is, she's earned it.
Damn right she has.
When we all started this, They weren't no paved fucking highways, folks. It was jungles, and all we had was machete. And we still made it. We started out cutting out a path, and now it's a fucking super highway. So don't disparage any of these people of saying they got 20-plus years, because back when we started, we weren't all public about it, but we still did our job.
That's right.
You know, we were activists, but we were activists trying to keep our ass out of fucking jail. So we weren't all out in everybody's face about it and bragging about how much activism we were doing. So anybody wants to fucking question Melissa's work, you need to go check your own ignorance, because she's been in the fights. She's been in the battles. And she's earned every bit of the fucking seat that she's held in on that board.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, she is a pioneer in the marijuana, you know.
Yes, she is. And I want, you know, it's not for me, or it isn't. You know, that there is not for, but that's for, he's damn sure. And that's just like if has to be on that board. They can never question our credentials either, because we've been in the fight for fucking most of our lives. Right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
So, you know, my first possession charge was fucking 13 years old. So let's get on to fucking how long we've been activism then.
Right,
okay?
Right. Well, you know what? I love to ask the question, when did the war on drugs start for you?
The war on drugs started for me was when I got caught with it and was told that it affected me going into the military. It affected it would affect my life forever. And I mean, I was 13 fucking years old.
Okay, yeah, because it started.
Plant. I mean, we're talking about a fucking plant that's gonna get caught with. Excuse me. That was gonna affect my life for the rest of my life, and I just I couldn't get my head wrapped around that.
Right.
I didn't have that much. I mean, fuck, I was a kid. I mean, at most I had maybe a couple of joints. And all of a sudden, this was going to affect the rest of my life, is what the cop kept telling me. You know, here I could have got caught breaking into people's houses that wouldn't have affected my life so much as getting caught with that fucking plant.
You're right. Well, mine started at home, you know, when I was a youngster with my parents. 'Cause my parents were always telling me how evil it was, you know. So for me, it started long before I even hit the streets, you know. It just became real.
First time I
out
can
on the
remember
streets.
getting high was my mom had a babysitter. I think I was 6 or 7. And she had a babysitter that would get me to pass the bowl. When they would be sitting around, they would get me to come, and they had me the bowl, and I would pass it. Well, every now and then I would get lucky, and they'd give me a shotgun. But that was my earliest exposure. And then I remember my mom getting high. I remember her waiting on motherfuckers to bring the weed, and this is back when they were buying lids and shit, not ounces and quarters and shit.
Right. Lids.
And then I remember an older lady my mom used to have babysit me. This lady had a greenhouse, and she was growing weed. And I learned more about weed from her than her and her boyfriend, husband, whatever you wanted to call it. They weren't married, but they were happy hippies. Let's put it that way. I learned that fucking my first experience with honey oil was with them. I learned what cannabis oil was. I learned that it was medicine. I learned all kinds of shit from that old lady and that old man. It was Pete and Sarah. Funny how I remember their fucking names after this many years, but that's the impression they put on me, that I will always be grateful and thankful for those people that being in my life the way they were, because I actually saw cannabis for the plant it was, not because all of my friends, the most they'd ever seen is just already in the bag, or when they were breaking it up to smoke it. They never had the opportunity to see it grow, you know. Fuck, I was 9 years old already experiencing opium Thai sticks, opiated Thai sticks and shit.
Oh,
So,
I remember that stuff.
oh, yeah. Oh, man. That's how long I've been around it, though. And that's, you know, when I realized the fight those people were going through, I somehow knew back then that my life journey was always going to be intertwined with this plant. And it has. It's been the one constant more than even alcohol. And for the longest time, I would probably tell you alcohol was the one that was a constant. But even when I was in prison, cannabis was more constant than alcohol.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. You know, throughout all these articles that I've been trying to come up, you know, reading, and as we were talking, you know, there's even though you and I know that in the beginning they were, you know, it was to regulate marijuana like alcohol. There is nothing in these about regulating like alcohol as far as Colorado goes. Now there are some stories that, you know, they were supposed to, you know, they were talking about regulating like alcohol, but you know, it really never goes anywhere. And honestly, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a bill that was supposed to be in the House here in the Colorado legislature where they were supposed to be? Man, I don't know. I don't want to misspeak here because I know they're discussing smoking lounges now in the legislature. But you know, when it comes down to it, they
are they discussing it in the state legislative level, or are they discussing it like they have in Denver, to where they're considering keeping the moratorium for another 2 years, kicking the fucking can down the road, basically wasting all of everybody's time of rushing out and getting 25,000 signatures or however many was demanded. So basically, it's fucking wasting everybody's work, but it made Mason fucking Devert and Brian Vicente fucking more famous again, right? So that's the question I have. Are these legislative bodies playing off each other in order to keep us at bay from doing what legally we can do to force their hand? Because what I'm seeing is like Colorado Springs. They set a 6-month moratorium, but they put an open end on it to where they don't even got to bring it up for discussion anymore. All they got to do is fucking pass it to a vote, and they kick the can further down the road. So are these legislative bodies really working on it, or are they just pacifying us by claiming they are?
Well, when you ask like that, I mean, I'm going to have to say they're pacifying.
Are we playing kick the can, or are we doing real legislative body work?
Real legislative body work.
That's what legislative bodies are supposed to be doing, is passing laws or interpreting laws or passing fucking acts or whatever, right?
Right.
Well, are they doing that, or are they playing kick the can? Are they doing legislative body work? Are they doing what they're elected to do? Or are they playing kick the can? Because it's a fucking mess that they're uneducated enough to even be interested enough to research, to delve into the topic, much less fucking mandate a law. Because we're all pioneers in this. They know they're going to be establishing the precedent. That's why none of these fuckers want to do it. They want to play kick the can, leave it to someone else to do. As long as it's there that says we don't have to, then let's not. Let's kick the can down the road. That's my point of why did we waste our time getting signatures if we weren't going to at least make them put it on the ballot and then go to the negotiating table? And we already got ours, motherfucker. What are you going to do to offer us to keep us from doing that?
Well, I mean, I
didn't
would
do
have
that,
to say,
did they?
it's like, we've got these, like lobbyists that go in and,
Really? Oh, and by the way, folks, that was cannabis. We were smoking cannabis and we were talking about it. Oh, sorry.
No, I just got done taking a dab. That's why I'm kind of,
Yeah, well, I'm just kicking those fuckers in the nuts that kept asking us when we're going to start talking about weed.
no, that kind of got me
Yeah,
a little
well.
high. I'm surprised how buzzed it got me, man. I mean,
Good deal. Good deal. That's what we're here for. But, I mean, what we're talking about here, man, is phony-ass legislative bodies that will talk a big game, say they're going to do a lot of shit and collect a paycheck, but in the end, they're not doing nothing but playing a game and kick the can.
well, because
only way-
honestly, I don't
The
feel.
only way we're going to force them to do their job is twofold. Two fronts. Get the signatures. Force them to recognize the signatures and put it on the ballot. Don't mean they got to push it to get voted on, because between the time of voting and the time of actually getting it on the ballot and voting is when you approach the legislative body and say, what are you going to do about this? Because you already know we're going to fucking win. And we're going to demand you pass the legislation the way it's written in the fucking ballot language. Okay? That's when the negotiation time starts. Or we do the other. The other is we fucking let them play kick the can for as long as they're going to do it and let them fucking take our rights away. Because that's what they're doing. We can either fight them in the court because we already know law's been set, precedence is there.
Right.
All we got to do is force them to enforce that law. Or we go the ballot signature route, force them to put it on the ballot. We want private clubs. We want fucking areas of public consumption. We want this, and we're going to put it to the people's vote to get it. Or we push it to a judge and leave it in the judge's hand, of which is on the payroll of the same state we're trying to fight. My suggestion is we get what the fuck we want. We put it on a fucking ballot. We get a signature on a petition, and we force the legislative hands. Once we force the state, the Secretary of State, to put it on the fucking ballot. You can't fuck around like Mason Trevert and Brian Vicente did this last time with the city of Denver. Yeah, we got the signatures. What are you going to do? Okay, we'll do something. Now, after those signatures are no longer valid, they're going to kick the can for another 2 years and fuck everybody around. Can't do that. No. That game can never be played again. What we need to do is get the signatures, force the Secretary of State to say we're going to put it on the ballot, then we go in and negotiate with it. Because we already know if it goes to the people's vote, we're going to win. They already know that. Okay? The thing of it is, dude, is we got to quit writing hollow fucking ballots. We've got to quit writing fucking hollow petitions. We've got to write it with ironclad fucking language to where they can't rewrite it the way A20 was turned into 1284, the way A60 was turned into whatever the fuck it is. If we're going to do a constitutional amendment, don't fucking rewrite it and call it something else. Don't allow the cities, states, and birds to fucking opt out of it.
Well, I mean, honestly, don't you feel that A64 has been perverted from what it was supposed to have been?
Excuse me? Say again?
It's been perverted from what it was supposed to have been. It is nowhere near what it was supposed to have been, is it?
Wait a minute. You've already read, and we've already discussed, it wasn't what it was supposed to be from the very beginning. This isn't new. You read the ballot, so did I. We said, no way. This is nothing new. Only thing is, we had 2020 and we had foresight. Now, these fuckers are looking at it with hindsight going, wait a minute, now we got these issues, and these issues. This ain't nothing new. We seen this coming.
We did.
Okay, so it's nothing new, but the question is, now what are we going to do about it? Okay,
well,
there's nothing in A64 that says they're going to allow us to have private funds. There's nothing in A64 that says they're going to allow public consumption. Now, if that's what we want, what are we going to do? Because we have a lot of arguments right now, especially with guys around Denver, saying, oh, you sold it, treat it like alcohol. Well, wait a minute. We're finding out in language and all that right now that other than advertising promotional slogans, it was never written, never intended to be treated like alcohol.
Oh,
am I right?
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay, so now, who do we back? Do we back the people that are saying, wait a minute, we were sold a bill of goods. This is what you told us. This ain't what's happening. Or do we back the legislation that you and I both read that says, we told you fuckers, this ain't what you wanted to vote on? Because I've always firmly believed, man, that once it's a right, you got to fight for them, whether you agree with them or not.
Right.
Because the next time they're going to come after the ones that you agree with.
Damn right. You know, and I mean,
okay.
you and I have done that.
I got a problem. I got a dilemma. Okay. The reality of it is we all had an opportunity to read it. We all had an opportunity to recognize the historical ramifications of bad legislation. Who gives a fuck about being first if it's fucking bad law?
That is true.
I mean, okay, so what am I mean, do I defend the bad law? Do I defend bad legislation because it was voted in by fucking people that ain't smart enough to read? Do I defend it? Or do I say, fuck it, let's polish it and rewrite it, and let's try to do it right? Well, I mean, I'm confused, man. I don't know where to fight now. Because I know this is bullshit. A64 was bullshit from the day the first fucking pen went to ink when they started writing it. The only time I'll tell you, it was written by lawyers. Lawyers lost the $5,000-$6,000 possession paraphernalia charges, but they gained. They wrote it in there for themselves. The DUID is you got to buy a lawyer, but really the lawyer you're automatically guilty. There ain't nothing a lawyer can do about it. So he gets paid $1,500 or more to do nothing, because once they get your blood, dude, they've got your evidence.
That's true. That is true.
They wrote it only to benefit themselves. They give up the little $500 possession and stupid shit like that, because if you get, I don't give a fuck. You still get caught with a bunch of fucking weed bagged up in little bitty bags, and you're trying to fucking sling it. You're gonna fucking get charged with distribution, whether you're in the state of Colorado or fucking anywhere. Okay, they didn't write that out of there. Oh no. But they wrote out the simple possessions, but what they added, they gain a lot more money, and they don't have to do near as much work.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So, yeah, lawyers wrote it, and now you're finding out that in all actuality, they wrote a constitutional amendment that has no goddamn teeth at all. And I'm afraid we ain't even going to be able to put false teeth in this fucking thing.
Yeah, you know, because I mean, I'm sitting here going through the A64 wording, and
read it. Yeah, it's a fucking joke.
I mean,
is that the ballot language, or was that the final resolution? Because, man, the ballot language was pretty fucking goofy, if you ask me.
Well, the ballot title is, "Shall there be an amendment to the Colorado Constitution concerning marijuana, and in connection with providing for the regulation of marijuana, permitting a person 21 years of age and older to consume or possess limited amounts of marijuana, providing for the licensing of cultivation facilities, product manufacturing facilities, testing facilities, and retail stores, permitting local governments to regulate or prohibit such facilities."
Hold on, man. See, that's what fucks me up right there. How can you make a state constitutional amendment and let little bitty cities and counties and birds opt out of it? I don't understand. Even though, like here in Colorado Springs, El Paso County, it won by over 1,000 votes, okay? But yet one motherfucker and a body of 10 can say, "Fuck you guys, we say no." I'm perplexed. When you did a statewide vote, you let little bitty commissioners and little bitty city council members make that decision over the body whole of the people. I'm fucking confused. Maybe I'm fucking stupid and retarded too. If you guys got the answers to that one, please fucking add it in the comments.
Right? Please do. Let me see here. Where are we at? Okay.
Not if I'm retarded or not, because I already know the answer to that. The other question that I had.
All right, let's get that clear. No.
Just to clarify there, brother.
I understand. All right, so requiring the General Assembly to enact an excise tax to be levied upon the wholesale sales of marijuana, requiring that the first $40 million in revenue raised annually by such tax.
Wait a minute. Go back. Did it say an excise tax on wholesale marijuana?
Yes.
Didn't say an excise tax on retail marijuana.
No, on wholesale sales of marijuana. Now, if you remember right, in the wording before, when we were doing the yes on 64, no on 64, the 40 million, was that not at 63 million?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure.
That's what I always understood. It was the first. Well, no. I think the understanding I had and the way I read it was the first 60 million.
Okay, well,
63, 60, whatever, yeah. It was the first 60 million raised would go to the schools.
But, yeah, the taxes to be credited to the public schools, Capital Construction Assistance Fund, and requiring the General Assembly to enact legislation governing the cultivation, processing, and sale of industrial hemp. So that's the ballot title.
And that's the ballot language, right? That's what people signed the signatures on the petition that went on the ballot.
Yes.
So, what you just read and what it was sold as, because you remember as well as I do how many people and how many billboards and magazine ads was A64 treated like alcohol.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
This next, I'm going to... All right, purpose and findings. In the interest of the efficient use of law enforcement resources, enhancing revenue for public purposes, and individual freedom, the people of the state of Colorado find and declare that the use of marijuana shall be legal for persons 21 years of age and older and be taxed in a manner similar to alcohol. But
That's the only thing is taxed in a manner similar. Not treated, but taxed in a similar manner as alcohol.
now, wait a minute, but it is not taxed similar to alcohol.
No, it's not. But that is the only wording in there that remotely even talks of alcohol, and it talks in the term of tax and more not along the lines of treatment of like alcohol. In other words, like bars or liquor stores, things like that. It's more along the lines of tax in that way. Am I right? In the way you just read that?
Yeah.
Read that again, and because it's all in the wording with legislation, bro. It's how they turn and twist words, okay? And as I understand the way you just read that, the only thing that pertains to is taxing in the same manner, not treatment. In
Right.
other words, they're not going to treat it like you can have bars, you can have liquor stores. You know what I mean?
Right, no, just
That's
tax.
not what I heard there. Just to tax it
tax.
light. That could
But-
fucking end up backfiring. In
But
this guy's
then the
cases.
next, okay, but wait, the next paragraph says, in the interest of the health and public safety of our citizenry, the people of the state of Colorado further find and declare that marijuana should be regulated in a manner similar to alcohol so that, and then next paragraph, individuals will have to show proof of age before purchasing marijuana. Oh, okay. Selling, distributing, or transferring marijuana to minors and under individuals under the age of 21 shall remain illegal. Driving under the influence of okay, so they're just legitimate tax-paying business people are not criminal, and not criminal actors will conduct sales of marijuana. Legitimate tax-paying business people and not criminal actors will conduct sales of marijuana. So really, they're just saying,
What the fuck? That's a shitty wording right there, man.
Right?
And you know, I remember when I read that before, that's not intelligent writing. That isn't. The wording, the combination of words, is not intelligent legislative writing.
Well, that's why I had to go back and reread that. I was like, did I just read that
Exactly.
right?
I remember when I first read that, was like, what the fuck? What kind of 10th grader wrote that? Think about it, dude. That's a 10th grade English fucking sentence. A poor 10th grade English sentence. Think about it. Does that sentence find its way in any legislative writing body, whatever? Think about it. Would you ever think of reading that kind of wording in a legislative piece of work?
No.
No. It's a fucking stupid sentence.
Yeah. Yes.
And these guys that wrote it, mind you, have law degrees.
All right. So now let me see. I will post this. This has got 12 pages to it. We're going down into the definitions of their different wording.
But what you described right there, okay, was retail sales. They CYO8 again. It was more along the line of business. You have to produce ID. that was when they were talking about regulating like alcohol. That ain't the same as allowing clubs, private clubs. Now, see, I believe we have an argument of if you allow the Eagle and the Elks Lodge, you have to allow private cannabis clubs. That's my argument in that, and I will go to my grave fighting that. The only reason the Eagle and the Moose Lodge and those, because those are political lobby organizations. Those are the BSW. That's a military fucking political lobby, bro. Okay? They raise money to fucking get benefits for the vets.
Right.
That's what they do. They're a fucking legislative political body. Well, if you allow them, and they're private clubs, and I also believe that all entrances of private clubs, cannabis especially, should have two entrances. One where you come in, you show your card, your membership card, or you purchase your membership, you get buzzed in, you go through a vestibule, which the reason the walls and vestibules is to prevent you from smelling anything in the front lobby. You cannot smell anything. When you walk in, it looks like a fucking doctor's office fucking lobby or whatever. You know what I mean? There's nothing in there hardly. There's pictures on the wall, maybe some glass pipes and shit, but nothing that says you're going to go in there and smoke. You can't smell it. Then you get in, because like in the VFW and Eagles Lodge, when you first walk in that vestibule, you can't see everybody drinking and smell booze.
Right.
You got to show your card, and then you get buzzed in to the other room. That's the bar area. See, I think those kind of clubs is the best model. Now, do you want to get into where the clubs sell ounce up to an ounce, or do you want to get into more of the speakeasy business model of shot in a beer? You buy a gram or a dab. Now, see, to me, that's individual business people business model. Okay? That's all what you have enough guts for to be in that deep of a business. You follow me? Because if I own a club that's got to worry about selling ounces to every individual that comes in that's over 21, I've got to have a lot of fucking product on hand, which means I got to have a lot of cash because I'm taking a lot of cash. How much is my guts to be in that kind of side? Okay? Because not only that, is now I got to take responsibility of the motherfuckers when they leave there with it. What are they going to do with it? If they go out and sell it, am I still going to be responsible for it? Am I part of that distribution chain? Can they construe it that way? Or is it better to look at the way the speakeasies got it, where you come in, you can either bring in your own, which there again, if you're treating it like a bar, you can't bring your own booze into a bar. So you're going into a lot of water there, but then again, we're pioneers. We're making this as we go. Not making it up, but we're making this as we go. So, if we're going to treat it like that, then you can't come in with any booze, and you can't go out with any booze. Okay? So that kind of kicked the shit out of those guys that want to be able to sell ounces when you come in and you can leave with it.
Right.
If we're going to treat it that way, you can't go in. You cannot go into a bar with your own booze. And you cannot leave the bar with booze. You can only consume what you buy in the bar at the bar. So there's a big debate there. There's a good debate there to be had. But you've got to get to where how much can you stomach to be in the business? Because I don't see the ounce where you can leave with it and shit like that business model being one that could be universally adopted, like the one where the shot and the beer. You can buy a gram and you can consume it, or you can do that. Either way, everything purchased here is consumed here. No, you can't bring your own in, and no, you can't take any out. okay, you know, there's solid debate on both sides there. But my understanding, the reading of A64, there is no provision in there for this. So is it something we're going to need to go back and force through signature petition-driven ballot to force them to include it, to write the laws, to lay it out, or do we let them continue to kick the can, and we do technically what we've always done, lived in Prohibition and said, fuck it.
Well, yeah, we kind of know, we know now pretty much how the alcohol prohibition people felt back in their day. But
well, I mean, you know, we're coming to the precipice where these arguments will have to be heard. And where they have to be heard is in the court. Because either we're going to win and they say, yes, this is what you voted on, this is what they should have done, or they're going to say, no, that's not the wording, you're not going to win. If you want it that way, redo the law.
Well, I tell you what, man, now I'm going through this, whoops, mouse fell. All right, but I'm going through this one article here. H.R. 1013, 114th Congress, 2015-2016, introduced in the House 220-2015 to regulate marijuana like the Alcohol Act. We need to get behind this. Directs the Attorney General to issue a final order that removes marijuana in any form from all schedules of the Controlled Substances under the CSA, Controlled Substance Act. Amend such act to provide that Schedules 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 shall consist of the drugs and other substances that are set forth in respective schedules in Part 1308 of the Title 21 of the Code of Federal Regulation.
All right, see, now we're talking about a federal, that's a federal, man. That's a federal ballot, or is that a state legislative?
No, this is, it is a federal, but it was submitted by our Senator Polis.
Polis?
Yeah.
Well, we can get behind it, because as I understand it, Bernie Sanders has introduced one kind of the same as removing it from the CSA. The reality of it is, dude, once that occurs, so every state in the fucking nation and probably every country in the world, once the United States removes that CSA barrier, that's the one step the world needs to remove it from the United Nations barrier.
Right,
which
right.
has caused the world prohibition of cannabis. Which, I mean, you look around in South America, 3 in 10 countries in South America is now legal. The ruling in Mexico, dude, it truly is an incredible ruling when you consider the magnitude of the wording of the rule. The magnitude of the words used is a human right to grow cannabis. That's huge. That's not a man right. That goes beyond, you know, what's written in our Constitution, that every man, because, you know, our Constitution is written that black man was 1/3 fucking man, which we both know that that's bullshit. We all know that that's bullshit.
Right.
So, but to take it to the human level it's unheard of in my time. In my 50 years, I've never heard a verdict to take the whole human race as a whole and put it into the verdict and say it's a human right. You know, because what that does is it gives it its medical credibility, it gives it its sacramental credibility, it gives the plant every part of the credibility it deserves.
This is a pretty good bill, actually. I sat here and read it now. So, eliminates marijuana as a controlled substance for the purpose of Controlled Substances Import and Export Act, or the National Forest System Drug Control Act of 1986, a dangerous drug for purposes of Federal Criminal Code provision authorizing interception of communications, and a targeted drug for purposes of provisions of the National Youth Anti-Drug Media Campaign under the Office of the National Drug Control Policy, Reauthorization Act of 1998, amends the Federal Alcohol Administration Act to set forth procedures for the issuance and revocation of the Secretary of the Treasury of permits for importing, shipping, or selling in interstate or foreign commerce, purchasing for resale, producing, packaging, warehousing marijuana, prohibits any person from engaging in such conduct without a permit, subject to a $1,000 fine or a $500 payment, sets forth criteria for ineligible applicants and disqualifying offenses. So it amends that subject.
Okay, all right. Well, let's go back a minute. Okay, he wrote a decent piece of legislation. It's a wonderful bill, but will it get passed as written?
As written? Yeah. Well, that's going to be a.
See, because Washington. There's cocksuckers in Washington have a way of passing a law this way, but yet backhandedly closing the fucking door and only letting them, the powers that be, make the money from it. So, yeah, the wording is pretty.
Well, look, isn't it already? Nice. It's already headed that way right now, any damn way.
You see my point.
GW Pharmaceuticals.
The wording is pretty and the poetry is nice, but will it be finally that way?
Right. Well,
probably not.
Probably not. This last one is, I just want to read this last one real quick.
Take your time.
Grants the Food and Drug Administration the same authorities with respect to marijuana as it has for alcohol. Transfers function of the administrator of the Drug Enforcement Administration relating to marijuana enforcement to the Director of Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, renames it ATF as the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Marijuana, Firearms, and Explosives, and the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau as the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Marijuana Tax and Trade Bureau. So I guess.
And will this be another one of those Kansas fiascos where, yeah, it's legal, but you got to get a tax stamp, and we don't have any of those?
Whoops. I'm going to say yes.
I mean, they can say all of these things about these pretty things, but in the end, dude, we're experiencing the true definition of lying legislation. With 64, it's legal. It's legal. And like I said, man, I remember the year prior to A64, every medical red card holder in the state just about just fucking almost screamed, oh my God, if they pass this 5 nanograms, that same 5 nanograms, 5 nanogram DUID, we might as well back fucking wood chipper up to the Capitol and fucking all throw our driver's license in it. But then when the same legislation come up in A64, which allowed them in written language within the bill, allowed them to write a DUID bill with the 5 nanograms, everybody's jumped on board. Everybody goes, yeah, let's vote it in. Well, one thing I do remember, and I'm going to reiterate it again, is we all knew 820 was bad. There was things in it that needed to be fixed, just like 1284. Things in it that still need to be fixed. They all kept saying it's legalization, it's legalization. Let's vote it in. We'll fix it later. Well, now comes the time to either fix it or fuck it, because they're going to fuck it every chance they get right now. And that's what's going on.
Well, you know, you're sadly mistaken if you don't think, you know, they're going to try to keep it status quo on their side as far as...
we already know the effects of 1284 was just to include big business. They closed the door on just about everybody they could. If you didn't have a lot of money, if you didn't have this, if you didn't have that, you couldn't be in the fucking cannabis business.
Right.
They made it a good old boys club, and that's what they're trying to do with the cannabis. That's exactly what they're trying to do with the rec side. Is they're going to pass it to where they're making it to where you can't grow your own plants. You got to go buy it at the rec center. They're gonna make it to where you're only going to be allowed to grow 6 plants. Then they don't give a fuck what your doctor says about more plants. You can only grow 12. Or, you know, they're going to make it to where all you can do is go buy it at their little fucking well-funded, government-buddy places and outlets who they've already got all the money from. You know, this goes back the same way of when the Stanley Brothers brought in the fucking cannabis mafia, and they capitalized on it, and they had more influence on the legislation than the people that actually did the work to get it legalized, that pioneered it. It's no different. These people are coming in with all this money, and they're making decisions on things, and they're going to lock everybody else out. You know? That's what I'm seeing. That's every time I turn around and read a local newspaper, there's another county or another city putting restrictions and regulations on how many plants you can grow.
And you know why they keep doing this?
This is all directly fucking attributed to passing of 64.
Right. You know, and we hear a lot of bitching, you know, online. And you know what? I got to tell you, you know, if you want to do something about it, you know, and it pisses you off, you need to quit your bitching and get up off your ass. Really, because, you know, I'm telling you, you know, we got a lot of keyboard warriors out there that say, oh, you know, about what they would do. But, you know, you get down to that state legislation, and it's always the same people there. You know, maybe 1 or 2 new people. Okay, but really, it's usually always the same.
But my experience, when you're going to there and you're going to listen to the state legislator and they give you the opportunity for the public to speak, the reality is they've already made up their mind before they've walked in there that day to listen to whatever the fuck anybody's they're going to say. The same thing I experienced down here at the Colorado Springs City Council meeting when they wanted to start this moratorium of 6 months. First it was clubs and dispensaries. Then the wording was that they were going to separate it. They weren't going to include the dispensaries. And then somehow, by the second reading, the dispensaries got re-included and it got passed with an open end. See, in the beginning, the biggest argument that everybody had was, how long is this going to be? You know, are you going to make it 6 months and actually do the work to put the fucking regulations that you're asking us to put in and want to put established? Or are you actually going to put the working group to work and make this happen? And what we're finding out is no. By the second reading, by the time it got passed, there's an open ending to it, to where every 6 months, all they got to do, they don't even got to put it on the agenda. for a public reading or a public hearing. They can just fucking pass it through the vote and it'd be done. We don't even got to know that they're going to vote on it, and it'll just be passed, and then we'll hear it on the news. Oh, City Council passed another 6-month moratorium on the cannabis businesses. And what it boils down to, bro, is we're letting these fuckers remove the rights from us that we work so hard to gain. Now, I used to believe that it was the last walls and the last kicking and fighting of said prohibitionists, or, the end of prohibition, their last fighting. But no, I'm seeing this as they're coming at us in a whole different new direction with a brand new vigor. And what I mean by that is by the deception of A64 to kick the shit out of A20. And how I know that the intent of A60 was to kill A20 was the same thing happened in Washington. And as soon as the Washington rec passed, they shut down their medical. No more co-op. No more fucking, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's what they did there. And now you see it that they're doing it here. The difference is Washington didn't have a constitutional amendment. We do. So they have to go about it. How do I want to put this? They have to go about it incrementally. They can't just, they couldn't just the next day after the fucking election take away our medical, because they would be a fight. Although, with the wording of those two sentences that you read at the beginning, they already had that in their back pocket. You already voted this away, you fucking idiot. But they couldn't do that because the people of Colorado would have flipped their fucking lid. You know that as well as I did. So they're doing it incrementally, man.
Oh, yeah.
They're removing medical incrementally. That's what I'm saying, man. We need to take them to court to ask them, to make them justify their authority on how they're doing it. That way they'll have to pull this out and go, oh, look, you voted on it. And then we'll know. We'll know. They pulled the fucking hoodwink over us on that end as well.
Right.
But the only way we're going to know that is to take these fuckers to court. We need, all right, that thing we already know from the reading on A64 that you've done. There is no provision in there that says we're going to have clubs. There's none in there that says they're allowed to have clubs. Am I right?
Right.
None in there for public consumption, correct?
Right.
So what that tells me is we need another signature ballot, another petition, another constitutional amendment that directly speaks and directs them to submit and to sign into law, constitutional amendment style. This is what we want, and this is how we want it to be. But we got to get over the argument of what business model do we want to adopt? Do we want to adopt Wild Wild West? Come in, you can buy an ounce, you can bring in whatever you want, you can leave with whatever you want. That could be a business model. Or do we adopt the shot in the beer, gram and a dab? And you can't bring any in, you can't take any out. Or do we adopt the one that says the only way you smoke in there is you bring your own, BYOB? There's 3 business models right there that we've got to, if we're going to have consumption clubs, we've got to decide on which business model is going to be adopted.
True.
Because they're not going to allow us to have 3 completely different business models going forward. If they're going to allow clubs, they're going to force us in to decide which one. And I hate to see it be the BYOB, because I would rather see it be like the bar, to where I would like the negotiation where you could bring your own, or you could buy some, but you can't buy so much from the club where you can take that out of there. The limits are grams or dab. You know what I mean? Grab and bud or dab. that they serve you. I like that business model, but there's a lot of people that like the Lazy Lion Blue Mountain business model. You can bring whatever you want with you, or you can buy up to an ounce inside, and you can leave with up to an ounce on inside, you know?
Uh-huh.
There's some people that are like that, and then there's some people that are still arguing for the iBake model. So bring your own, or don't smoke at all, or smoke on the friendliness of your friends. You can't buy or purchase anything from the employees or the club itself.
Right.
There's arguments for that, or there's arguments for the speakeasy, which I said the shot in the beer. These are the questions we've got to get out there and debate before our legislative body debates. Because if they do it, they decide on which one without us having any input in it at all.
Right.
Okay?
And we know where that's going to go. That's just going to piss us off even more.
In the end, what it's going to do is it's not going to leave us any debate, and they're not going to let us have any clubs. That's what the end of it all is, because that's the fight they're giving us now. They're not wanting to negotiate anything. They're wanting to say just no. And if you do it, we're going to put you in jail. We're going to gain more revenue, of which that's why we pass laws to prevent you from doing it. Was to use it as a revenue generator. And now they found a way to continue to do that. By every time you hold an event or you do a cannabis club, we're going to come in, we're going to give everybody tickets, possibly arrest some people, make a scene, cost the city or the county a whole lot of revenue for resources, for police resources and stuff, to waste the court's time. The only way we fix that is we got to, first off, we got to get an honest section of people to debate on which business model is the best, most desirable. Out of the three, the completely BYOB, the BYOB, which you can purchase like a beer and shot, gram and dabs, or the full-blown, you can come in with what you want or what you got, or you can buy up to an ounce there on premise and leave with that. I think in the end you're going to have a lot more regulations if we adopt the latter, the ounce purchase, you can leave with it. We're going to find a lot more, we're going to have a lot more resistance, which in turn, if they allow that, is going to come up with a lot more regulation on that. You know what I mean? There's going to be regulation on who's growing it. They're going to want to regulate the grow. They're going to want to regulate all of that, just like they do a rec sales play. Do we really want that? Because then that creates more overhead for the club. Or do we want it like the speakeasy model, which will have some regulation? Obviously, they're going to have to account for where they get their bud, which will probably allow them to be allowed to buy more wholesale and more where they buy their wax. They'll be accountable for that, of course, and things like that. But I don't think there'll be as much regulation as opposed to the other one. And, you know, I think as long as you own a smoke shop, you should always be able to have a BYOB. If it's opened up as a smoke shop the way I think Denver has been open, I think that should always be allowed. Because it is legal for us to have. So we should have places where we could go to partake publicly in a public place to be able to use what we have already bought or grown. Right?
Right.
Okay, and then in the I think in the terms of the bars, liquor bars, I don't believe they should be allowed to sell. Okay, restaurants. Now we're getting into another subject. Do we want to allow them to offer infused menu? Do we want to let them offer us vaporizing after dinner? Do we, get a dab and a vaporizer? Those are things we got to look at as well. But if we're just looking at the club model, I think the liquor bars should be allowed to, like a smoking section, but a cannabis use section. I think that should be a provision allowed for them to have that. But do I believe they should be allowed to offer it on a menu? Like, maybe they should be allowed to have a bud
I
bar.
believe
just
they
like
should.
do the liquor bar.
I
But
believe-
it should be along the lines of a shot and a beer, just like at their other bar. You can't buy a bottle of liquor and walk out the fucking bar with it.
Right, true. That's true.
Okay? So it should be along the same lines. You can buy a gram, and we'll give you either a pipe or papers and a grinder, and you can go back to your table and partake. Or you can enjoy our e-nails here at the bar, and we'll give you a shot. Or we can load a bowl and put a little bit on top for you to have a little caviar fucking bowl. You know, like a little mixed drink, if you will. You know, I can see those kind of business models being enacted. You know, but these are the serious discussions we've got to get down to. First off, we need to force them to make us less half clubs. But before they're going to do that, we're going to have to adopt a universal business model that those clubs look like. So, the legislative body, the police, the fire marshals, all these fucking idiots that think they can gain control and more control, they at least got an idea of what's going on inside. And I think that's the biggest thing going on now is they fear about what's going on inside. Are they dealing large-scale drugs on the inside? Are minors going in there getting high? Are people getting more fucked up than they should and be allowed to fall out and pass out? Because I'm sure they've heard of all the horror stories of people falling out tablets. Although they weren't injured, they weren't fucking severely harmed for future, and they had no fucking future side effects. They've heard the horror story. So we, you know, in order for this whole thing to work, we've got to find a way to work with those people as partners and not look at them continually as enemies. And I hate to be the one saying that because I've never thought of them as being my partners. But in this kind of thing, being that it is new and we are pioneers, we're all going to have to be partners in it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know, because in order for them to at least not to be like the sheriff in Adams County saying, I fear for the safety of this event, but yeah, we'll have beer crawls on fucking St. Patrick's Day, and that's okay.
Right, or that motorcycle expo that went down, you know, that had a shooting and someone
but you
died.
gotta understand, man. You gotta understand. The only reason that motorcycle expo went down is because they knew they had law enforcement, badge officers, there were patch wearers that could be infiltrated in the arena. And unfortunately, one of those idiot motherfuckers is the one that pulled the gun and pulled the trigger. But that's why they let that go down. That was more of a psyop. Let's get more than this fucking infiltrating spot. Because that's what that one fucking bike club, the Patchwork, the one that caused the trouble, is known for instigating shit at bike fucking events.
Right.
And they're all badge motherfucking cops. So, you know, between correction officers or whatever, they're all cops. Okay, but getting back to my point here about these clubs, we've got to invite them in to a point. Just like fire marshals are our friends. Because if they don't point out the hazards, we might not either. We might not recognize them and endanger our customers. Or like in my vernacular is I need to work with these guys in order to be able to hold events. Because eventually I want to hold events on the caliber of fucking cannabis cups and shit like that. And unless we work with them, we're always going to have the sheriff of Adams County saying, I fear. I fear. I fear. We've got to work with him to get over his fears. And
Right.
the only way to do that is to be more open with them. Yeah, that is the man. That is our perceived enemy. But there's some points and times when they can be our friend and assets to our business.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And that's kind of where we're going to have to come to a serious debate and discussion on this. What kind of club, what kind of club do we want in Colorado? Okay, what do we want them to look like? What do we want them to represent? That's the first big discussion. Once we get that out of the way, what business model do we think is best moving forward that we're all willing to adopt? We're all going to be as one voice here. We're all going to be doing this. Okay, and then look into training like Jamin Johnson has started with the video of responsible dab bartenders.
Right.
We've got to do these things, just like the liquor lobby had to do. They had to train their bartenders in what IDs to look for, whether they're fake, where to look for the age, because a lot of states put them in different places. A lot of states have different IDs. This one's under 21, and you know it because of the color. Okay? These are things that we're going to have to adopt in our community industry that they've already went through, that they've already done. Okay? So, we're going to have to look at what business model works, adopt that business model, adopt policies that everyone is willing to go and do uniformly. Like liquor training. To be a bartender in Arizona and in Missouri, you have to go through a minimum of 8 hours worth of training. Usually they do it on a Saturday, and you go and they teach you all kinds of things of responsible liquor serving. You got to look for when a guy's too fucking drunk. You've got to be the number one wall in between the safety of your customer and him possibly going around killing himself or killing others. You've got to be that person. And in order for you to do that, you've got to know the signs and what to look for. And that's what they teach you to do. Same thing with responsible bud tending. You don't want a fucking bud tender when somebody walks up and goes, I'm new here and I've never done a dab. You don't want to see them giving them a 1/10 grab fucking dab. Because that's irresponsible dabbing. Okay? These are the things that we've got to look at as a community, as a whole, going forward in a pioneering industry. Because we're setting the example. We're setting the pattern. We're setting the main framework that these other states are going to go and adopt. And unless we do it properly and do it right, basically we're going to have fuckery all around the United States. Because if they adopt bad legislation and it's adopted throughout, we're all going to get fucked in it.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Colorado is falling behind in a lot of areas when it comes to marijuana research and stuff like that. There's a lot of states that have been
The reality of it is, man, we could have been the Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore, Maryland is the capital of pharmaceutical medication research, human research. You know what I mean? This pill treats that, and we need X amount of people to run this trial on. Okay? They run more human fucking pharmaceutical trials in Baltimore, Maryland than anywhere else in the world.
Wow.
Colorado could have been that place for cannabis.
Damn right it could have been.
We could have been so much further than anywhere else in the world as far as knowing exactly what hybrid, what strain treats this illness or this disease, or how much do you need to treat this seizure disorder, or how much medication or edible do you need to knock off your pain as opposed to how many pills you would take. We could have been on the cutting edge of that kind of research had our state got behind the constitutional amendment that it was intended to be.
Yeah.
You need some water, baby? Go.
What's that, man? Hello?
So.
Oh, you're there.
I
Okay.
let her out. Yeah.
You sounded like you blurted out there for a moment.
Oh, no. I looked at her. I said, you need a drink, baby? And I opened the I let her out so she'd go get some water.
Right on. Oh, Lord.
But
I'm telling you, it definitely, in ways, I'm feeling, like you said in the very beginning, you take one step forward and you get knocked back 3 steps, I mean, it's, definitely.
No, I said 5 steps.
You said 5 steps, but I'm definitely.
And that's the way I feel about this, is everything that was moved forward on plant count being recognized of doctor recommendations and things like that. Bob Krause's trial that just slammed them. Now what I'm seeing is since 64 has come in, is all of that groundwork is being backdoored somehow, some way. And it's not directly. They're not fighting us directly. They're backdoored using building codes or code enforcement deals to circumvent a constitutional amendment.
Right.
Although, and my attitude toward this is, look, man, we already got laws. If I go and I rent a house and I rent it telling the owner I'm living in it, and I go in and I destroy it, change the wiring, fucking knock out walls, I'm guilty of destruction of property. Deceptive by fraudulent means, I gained that house. That's another crime. And then I destroyed the man's property. We already have laws on the books against that shit.
Right.
We don't need to pass new laws directed specifically against cannabis producers.
No.
Okay?
No.
Now, and in the same hand, all these motherfuckers that are backdooring fucking power meters. We've got laws against that. That's called theft of the power company. We don't need to pass a new law.
Right.
Let's enforce the ones we already have in place. Okay? And it is criminal behavior. I hear all these people saying, well, there's no way for the homeowner to do anything about it but sue him in civil court. Well, civil court is for a means for you to get your money back. And the reality is, if they're criminals to begin with, you're not going to get your money back. Okay? But these are crimes. File criminal charges. Hello? Criminal charges against the people, and then you will have justice, if that's the justice you want. But there's no need to pass new laws or new zoning or new fucking this or, to enforce laws that are already on the book. Because not only is it a waste of your time and my time, it's a waste of a lot of taxpayers' fucking money.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. They're coming up with enforcement codes and shit like that to backdoor what we've already fucking fought for. And unless we start filing lawsuits, we're going to lose.
Well,
so
we definitely need to set up that legal fund, like keep on saying.
Hey,
wish the community would get behind us on
I'm
this
not
one.
even worried about legal funds. April or March 1st, I'm going to be filing a fucking lawsuit against the county of El Paso about their plant count bullshit. It's going to be against the commissioners. It's going to be filed in the county of El Paso County. I'm tired of it. Everybody said, oh, yeah, we're going to join in. Ain't nobody got a hold or filed no paperwork. I'm going to be filing it March fucking 1st. I'm tired of it. And unless we fight them in their own fucking courtrooms, we're always going to lose, folks.
Oh, yeah.
We can stand out in front of the courtroom. We can bitch about it on Facebook. But until you're ready to fucking throw down and roll up your sleeves and roll around in the mud with them, quit your bitching. Quit your bitching. Because I'm getting ready to roll up my sleeves and go fight. Just like our church is getting ready to go fight about Adam's law is fucking unconstitutional. We are a very litigious church, folks. And you're getting ready to see us on all fronts when we get ready to hammer these fucks.
Right.
We just hope you're going to be there to help us and support us. And I'm not talking about picketing out front. I'm talking about fill that fucking courtroom up so the judge shows that we're right and they're wrong.
Right. Because that's what we need.
You know, I believe that protesting in the form of pickets and shit have their place, but in the same sense of, if I walk down the street or if I walk somewhere and there's a bunch of dogs and they're all barking, do I hear them? But if I walk through and I hear a bunch of birds and they're all speaking and they're all chirping in the same tone and the same, I'm going to stop and listen to that. Okay. And my point in this is, and I know it's a long way to get back to this, is we need to find one voice with one goal. Okay? We cannot keep fucking saying, this is what we want, this is what we want, this is what we want. Because in the end, they're going to give us all of those things and then some. But ain't nothing none of us want.
Right.
We all wanted legalization, but look at what we ended up with. This don't even nowhere near resemble legalization, folks. Okay? So, what are we going to do to fix it? That's always the end theme of this. We know it's fucked up. How are we going to fix it? My game plan is to start filing lawsuits against every fucking county and every city and state that decides they're going to impinge on my motherfucking cannabis right that was voted in by the people, for the people, and all of that good, happy shit. Okay? And if it takes getting out and getting signatures to reestablish our position,
I think we just lost him there, which is all right because we only got like 2 minutes left anyway. So, you know, it is a bummer that A64. Oh, wait a minute. Here he goes. What's up?
Hey. As I was saying, man, if it takes us getting out and getting the signatures and getting the petitions reestablished so we can establish our position, our people's position, to overtake these fucking 5 or 8 men committee county commissioners or the 10 city council members. And that's what we're going to have to do in each one of our cities that took a constitutional amendment and said, we don't care what you voted for, folks. Fuck you. We decide what goes on in this city, not you. Wait a minute. That ain't the way the whole fucking thing's supposed to run. Once we, the people, establish ourselves and our intent, they have nothing but to do but to work in the direction to what we want. And what we're finding is they're working in the direction to fight us. So we need to reestablish our position.
Yes,
our first step is take him to court. Second step is get the fucking ballots, get the petitions, get the signatures, take them to the Secretary of State, get them fucking recognized, and then you approach these city council members, approach these county commissioners, and tell them, look, you're either fucking going to do what we tell you're going to fucking do, or we're going to force you, then we're going to recall you. Okay? Because we're not going to give you the benefit of leaving the job and forcing someone else to do it. No. We're going to sign a petition, vote it in, make you sign it into law, then we're going to impeach or recall your ass. Fuck you. You will do what we tell you to do, what we want you to do, because we, the people, for the people, still run this fucking state.
Right.
And
we do.
That's what you seem to forget. Is we've already spoken. As I told the City Council of Colorado Springs, you either get ahead of it and start working with these people, or you'll find one day you're going to be out of a fucking job. Because the same people that you're fighting against are already millionaires. They don't need to kiss no ass for fucking campaign funds. They can finance their own campaigns.
Right.
And they'll get elected. And then what? then they're going to pass laws to benefit themselves. Why can't you work with them? Get on that side of the wave, folks. That's what I told the City Council of Colorado Springs. Get in front of it, work with them, help them pass the right laws so they're everything's in cohesiveness instead of getting behind it and fight. That's what you want to do is fight it. Okay, fight it. Because in the end, you're going to get beat, and you're going to find you're not only not going to have a job on the city council, but when everything's said and done, you're not even going to be welcomed in your own community because you're going to be exposed for not giving a fuck about what the people have spoken. That's what we need to do, folks. We need to expose these cocksuckers because they're ignoring the people's voice. They're like, fuck you, I know better than all of you fuckers that voted. Although, hey, they knew, hey, I would stand with them because I know better than most of the people that voted about the legislation they voted on. But as I said, man, one right is as good as every other right once they become a right. So I'm willing to fight or not. I don't know. I'm willing to fight for A64 if we can get some fucking teeth in it. That's the only way I'm going to fight. If I find that there ain't no teeth that can, I mean, we can't build a set of false teeth for it, then my vote would be to fuck it, scrap it, let's re-rack it, rewrite it, and rewrite it right.
Ooh.
Which, yeah, it'd be difficult, but, you know, nothing's impossible when you put the right minds to work on it.
No, you're all right.
Well, anyway, folks, we're about coming to the end, and I just want to tell you all, I hope you all have a great week. And consider...
Stay blessed.
You folks in the state of Colorado, consider what I brought to the table as far as the debate on the clubs. Those those three business models is going to be brought to the forefront. And those are the three that we're going to have to decide on. To bring your own standalone where you can't buy anything from the establishment, from any employees of the establishment, or the model of the shot and the beer. You can buy a gram, you can buy dab. You cannot leave the premises with anything that you bought from the company or from the establishment, but you're allowed to bring your own to use and consume. Or the third model is you can go there as long as you're over 21. You can buy up to an ounce. You can leave with that ounce if you want. You can bring in whatever you want, consume whatever you want, and leave with the ounce after you buy it. Those are the three business models those are the only three that I have been told of, that I'm aware of. But that's the serious debate. Okay, we've already established that, yeah, we want public places to consume. We already want that.
Right.
Oh, and the other one is to give already liquor establishments the exemption of allowing a cannabis use area as they do a smoking area or what have you. That is going to also be brought up into the discussion. But the reality of it is we need to know the business model to establish cannabis clubs, cannabis lounge. Now, we could always do the private club, which I believe all of them is going to end up being private club models. But what club does that look like? Does it look like the Lazy Lion where you can go in and buy an ounce and leave with it? Does it look like the Speakeasy where you can come in and buy a gram or you can buy dab? Or does it look like I Bake Denver where you got to bring your own to consume your own or share on the kindness of others? Those are the three that I'm aware of. Those are going to be in strong discussions in the very near future, I'm very sure. If you're not included in a group, somebody you know probably is. If you live in the area and you know someone that has interest in the industry or community, they are probably in discussions with people. These are going to be the discussions. And let's keep it civil, folks. It don't have to get personal. Because I already see some of it going that direction in some of these rooms, which there's no need for it. It's not a simple answer, first off.
No,
This is not going to be easy. This isn't going to be easy. We're pioneers, folks. And those motherfuckers that was taking the Chisholm Trail all the way out west and fucking roots that was 2 foot deep in the wagons, they didn't find their job easy either, but they persevered and they kept going.
Right.
And that's what we need to do. We need to persevere through this. Because the relationships and the friends that we hurt now could hurt forever. And we don't want to do that.
Well, we better come together.
Yes, absolutely. Because united we stand, divided we're all going to fall.
Damn right.
All right, folks, you guys have a great weekend. This is 710 Radio, and this has been Let's